So today we're going to talk about why it's important to have an insurance agent. We're going to go over the top 5 reasons that have benefit of having an agent versus going directly to a company or to a website is going to play a factor in your insurance. Hey guys, I'm Mark with Think Insurance. So let's dive right into this question. I've spent over a decade in the insurance industry as an agent, and I really have honed in the value of what I've seen customers not get with specific companies versus what they get with me as their agent. Now, there's obviously a reason that I love being an agent because it gives me the experience with different people, but there's always a different scenario and there's always a different situation. So it's very difficult to hone in when you have somebody that's as experienced as that to find out who is going to be the best fit for which company. Now, when you're going online and you're doing that yourself, this is the first piece, is you're not going to get those additional benefits. You don't have somebody that knows the industry and can determine what's the best route for you to go and whether it's even worth your time to go through it. The second, and this is probably one of the most powerful reasons, and this is because this is the reason you got insurance in the first place. I always tell my customers, I hope you never talk to me again. I hope you never get to experience the service that I give because it's awesome and amazing. I'm going to help you through all of these things. But if you don't and you regret it, that means you didn't have to file a claim and it was never a problem for you. So if that was the case, that's amazing. And that's why we love insurance companies, is because we never had to use them, but we regret paying for them. Well, if you do have to use it, going directly to a company in some cases can be simple for small claims, but when you get more in depth on who's blaming who, what the scenario is, and whether you should even file the claim, there's nobody to go for that advice. Because if you call company A, the online company or the direct company, they're going to automatically just send you the claims. They're not trained and experienced to handle those questions. On top of it, the other part that I tell customers is you got to remember, I'm the bulldog on a leash. I know what the crap I'm talking about and I know what's right and what's wrong. And so when you get a company that's denying a claim or fighting back or trying to push you, you just got to release that leash and I'll go at them. Let me take that fight and fight it for you and with you. Ultimately, it's your insurance and your job, but when you have an agent, that's really the benefit of having them, not necessarily for them to jump and yell at people, but they get more done, in my opinion, than if you're going direct and you don't know what you're doing. The third reason, and this was from an article that I pulled up from Insurance News Net, removing people from the policy. If you have a child or a student that moved away, or you're getting divorced, or you're separating from policies, the agents are going to have that advice. That's the same situation where your direct 1-800 numbers just expect you to figure it out, call them with what's going to happen. Now, they even lock pieces where they have guidelines that you can't break on them, where they don't allow you to remove spouses until the other one's contacted. We have the same obligation, but we're usually good at contacting them, getting in connection with it. And then after a certain amount of time, we're going to follow up on that, where a lot of your 800 numbers or websites aren't going to do that. Now, there are a lot of situations where we can just go ahead and take care of the backlog of stuff. So when you take a young driver off your policy, if they moved out of the house, they're going to follow up with you. Well, with our case as an agent, they're going to follow up with us, and we're just going to explain the situation again. It's exactly what you told them before, but they're just trying to double and triple check that it's not a scam and you're not just trying to lower your insurance rates. Now, the article says adding or removing a vehicle. I actually don't see that as a benefit on either end. It's just as easy. You can text an office like ours, or you can text or go online and most of the tech apps like Progressive, you can just go right in there and add or remove a car. But if there's problems and flags that pop up, then sure, the agent has a little bit more experience with that. But overall, I don't think it's a big deal. Typically, you get anywhere from 2 weeks to 30 days, depending on the state, to add the vehicle in the first place. So you've got time to do it. So when you're doing it, it's not as big of a deal, but getting it done through an agent, sure, it could take as easy as a text or an email on your end versus actually going into the app and doing it. Personally, I don't see a big difference. And then the last piece I think is the personalization. They actually called it moving to a different address on the article. I think it's more the agent knows your situation, especially if you've worked with them before. And even if you don't, they pull up your notes and they've taken really good notes. If they're trained by me, then they definitely have good notes, because that's important to know where your customers are, where they're at in life. If they call you back a year from now and you haven't talked to them, then you got to know what their situation was before. So if you're moving and you're going from renting to owning, or you're going from just one location to another, that policy has to be rewritten in some aspects, not necessarily the auto, but the home. And knowing that you have 2 kids or this situation, there's a lot of questions that you're not going to have to re-answer, and a lot of things that you're not going to have to dig into in depth with the agent than you are with the online piece. A lot of onlines will just make you reshop the whole thing, and then it's your deal to figure it out, and they don't know to combine the auto with the home. There's a lot of hassle, paperwork, and just stuff in the background that your agent has done over and over and over again. So my 5 minutes is your 1.5 to 2 hours worth of work. And then the bonus tip is when you're filing claims. We mentioned that we can help you file the claims and we can give you the advice, but more often than not, I have had so many people that I've explained to them, I can't tell you not to file a claim because that's not my place. It's your policy, your decision. Here's the number to call if you want to, but here's what I would recommend. Those words have come out of my mouth so many times in the past because my advice is I'm yelling in my head, don't do it, don't do it. If you file this claim, you're gonna go up 20% and you're already paying $3,000 a year, so now you're $600 more a year. For 3 years, that's $1,800, and the car to repair it is only $1,800, but you got a $1,000 deductible. Like, it's gonna cost you money. And so there's like, yes, as an agent, we are gonna scream not to do it, but we're gonna tell you our opinions and let you guys decide. If you have the right agent, they're not gonna force what they think on you. It's not their place. And so it's just giving you the advice that you need to have at the right time. Here's the cool part. A lot of these companies have started to realize that the agents are more powerful than they thought, because you've got these companies, like if you go look at, we'll just use Progressive as an example. They started off as an agency where it was just the captive agents. They could only sell Progressive. Since then, they've broken away from just allowing the specific agents to sell their product to having these multi-lined agents being able to sell their products, along with going online. And they're seeing these online pieces that are also trending pretty high, but they're having more work on their end. And it makes more sense that if they're competitive in a certain market to have the agent deal with it, because one, they help them, coach them through everything. They take all the calls, they handle things. A lot of these companies are starting to do things similar to that because the independent agency or agent is way more powerful. Even though they're competing with more companies by going through them, they find that even though the customer leaves, it's because they weren't a fit in the first place, that a lot of times they come back because they want to reshop with that same agent later, and then Progressive is a fit later on. So in those situations, insert any company instead of Progressive. A lot of these are starting to realize those parts and where the value of having an actual agent is. So let me know what your thoughts are. What do you guys think? Is having an agent powerful, or do you think, nah, I got it, don't worry, I can handle this on my own, I'll figure it out, even if there's no additional fee? Let me know in the comments below what your thoughts are. Otherwise, I'm Mark with Think Insurance. I'll see you in the next one.